Hello YouTube, I'm Nate.
I'm Kayla.
And together we're Nayla. We're actually going to talk about something a little bit more serious. As you know, we've been covering corpse on this channel very significantly. And something that I continue to see brought up in the comment section is his ailments. Some of the things that cause him to be the way he is, his voice, and just how he is in general. So instead of just diving directly into the entertainment, I thought we could take a moment to react to a video that is actually from 2019 of Corpse actually talking about some of the medical conditions that he actually goes through.
I mean, I think it'll explain a lot about him and why he is the way he is. He has, I think, probably more going on than we even realize, and probably that he even lets on. So it'll be nice to get a little deeper into who he is.
Definitely. The next thing after this, we will be segueing into true scary stories animated, so stick around for that.
I was 18 or 19 at the time, and doctors weren't believing me with the issues I was having, and they were causing me problems uploading, which is why the upload schedule started getting slower and slower. And again, sorry, I'm nervous as fuck. Years ago, I thought it was fibromyalgia, but at the time, doctors weren't believing me because I was 19, in shape, seemingly okay. But then the problems started getting worse. And it started with my eyesight. I wasn't able to read stories because my eyesight was going. And they wouldn't, whenever I would get checked for a prescription, they would tell me I have 20/20, but then I wouldn't be able to see when I'm reading. And that kind of snowballed, and I was in and out of the doctors, like, I think I've been like 40 or 50 times in the past 6 months, maybe like 5 months. Anyways,
That's a couple
in October or September of 2018, things got really, really bad. And I started getting brain zaps, if anyone knows what those are. And my vision would go and it would happen. For those of you that don't know, I live alone completely. I don't really have any family that I talk to or friends in the area, and living the double life thing makes things complicated. So I didn't really have anyone here, and I went to the hospital for it, and they were telling me like they have to get me checked for a brain tumor and all these things like that. And I found out right after they told me that I need to get checked for a brain tumor that I didn't have insurance anymore, which was a very big shock to me at the time.
Wow.
And I didn't know how to get it back. I had just turned 21. I didn't know what I'm doing, what I was doing, and I didn't know how to get insurance back. And it was this long process because you can only get it at certain points of the year, and it was scary. I was fucking terrified.
And that I understand benefits really well. It's what I do in my full-time job. He clearly was dropped from probably a parent's insurance or a previous job's insurance, whatever it may be. And if it's not going to his house, he wouldn't have known until he went to the doctor. You have certain rules where you are eligible for benefits. If you want to go for private insurance at any time, there's no like limit on that, or any restrictions, but there are restrictions for like getting covered California and stuff like that. There is a short time frame from when you lose coverage to getting coverage again. I do feel for him, and it took me like a good 6 months to understand it, and it's my full-time job, so I can only imagine, you know, someone young trying to figure this out.
You know, this is a really sad video, but it's kind of interesting to look at this in retrospect, looking at where his life is now. I'm sure he can afford at least some of those medical bills a bit better now going forward.
Yeah, I feel for him.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, I was in and out of the hospital a lot my whole life, so I totally get it where he's going like 40, 50 times. I mean, there was a year where I lost track how many casts I had on one foot, so I got so many casts that they all knew me by first name. All the cast technicians, mind you, there's like six or more different cast technicians.
That is actually crazy.
Eventually got an MRI, and those of you that follow me on Snapchat have seen all the blood work and have seen all the MRIs I've had to do. They cleared me of no brain tumors, but I was left with the issue of wondering what's happening to me. They were telling me, you don't have fibromyalgia, you're in the lowest demographic for it, you're a young in shape male, you don't have it. It's not possible. It's very common in women. Anyway, I did have it, and they were wrong the whole fucking time. I wasn't justified in posting statuses on Twitter or Instagram or anything if I wasn't uploading videos. And it got so bad to the point where I just ended up posting nothing, and I was just this fucking anxious mess that lived alone. And like, I stayed in my apartment for months. I started like Grubhubbing food to my house every day. I'm losing thousands of dollars per month, and like, I lost track of time completely. I was just in bed for days and days and days. I was like, I'm gonna get back into videos. Like, I had friends hyping me up. And February I woke up and I lost feeling in my arm. Like, I don't want to say lost feeling completely because I could still move it and everything like that. But it started in my right wrist really bad. And I was like, oh fuck. Went to the doctors. They were like, we don't know what's wrong with you as usual. You have fibromyalgia. And like, we don't know why this is happening to you. So I couldn't click. Right when I was going to get back into videos in February, I couldn't click anymore or type or anything like that.
Wow.
It felt like no matter what I did, no matter how many doctors I went to, I was going to appointments every single day. No matter how many I went to, they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And then it traveled up to my shoulder. And at that point, I was so fuck it, but I was also so motivated because I was like, I'm going to beat this. I'm going to do like good. I don't know what's wrong with me. I got tested for rheumatoid arthritis. They said no. I did x-rays, CAT scans, everything. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. I was like, I'm going to do this shit with one hand. I'm going to upload videos with one hand, editing, everything.
Wow.
Even though, because at this point my eyesight's fucked, so I can't read the stories coming into me. I can't click, so I can't edit that well or record very well. I'm in bed every single day and I don't have anyone here. And I'm losing thousands of dollars per month, and like, these people are worried about me, but I'm scared to post anything. Snapchat, I posted this. I can't move my arm. I'm going to post a video this month. I'm going to get through everything and do it. And in the middle of that month, like 2 months ago, I woke up in the middle of like, after recording something the night before, and my entire left arm, I lost feeling in it. Not just in the wrist up like it progressed before, but now I couldn't move both my arms.
Oh my
And again, reminder I'm alone and everything like that.
It gets worse by the minute.
I couldn't move either of them.
That's
2 months
so
ago, I
scary
couldn't
to be
move
by yourself.
either of my arms.
You can't even move your arms.
You can imagine how frustrating this was because they had no idea why it was happening. I ended up buying braces myself off of like Amazon and everything, trying everything. Like, I was in a double arm brace on both my arms that I had to like put on myself, and I have chronic insomnia and sleep apnea, so I would wake up and like fucking.
Every moment I think I understand kind of where he's coming from and what he's going through, and then I feel like, oh, I don't understand anymore. He says something else that draws me back in, and I'm like, wait, now I relate to this again. Like insomnia and sleep apnea.
That's right up your alley.
Like literally right up my alley.
It's all your issues.
What he was going through was crazy.
I can really relate to him on the sense of like not knowing what's wrong and going to so many different doctors, because it took 2 years to figure out what was wrong with my ankle. And I went to like literally all of the specialists in the entire like Bay Area, UCSF, Stanford. I went everywhere and no one could figure out what's wrong. And it was something similar to him, that I was too young for them to know that it would be someone like me, because usually you get it in your 30s or 40s, and here I am 7 years old already having an issue. And so I can totally relate being like, well, you're too young, so let's just rule that out. And
because you don't necessarily fit the bill for the diagnosis as when it comes to like your demographic or how old you are. Or, like, that's a big part of the reason why we're doing this. We're spreading awareness about this so that people understand there's way more people like this than they know. You know, there's a lot of people who deal with all these different things, and you wouldn't be able to really know that because they're not really sharing that story with you. But there's many people who relate to Corpse's story.
After taking anti-inflammatories for a while, I was taking so many fucking meds every single day, and it was in a double arm brace. I managed to do nerve glides to stretch the nerves in my arms so that I could be able to use them again, because I had a feeling it was a nerve issue, even though they kept telling me it was tendonitis. And then everyone's messaging me, it can't get any worse than this. And then I find out my mom has cancer.
Wow.
That's where he ends?
Okay, y'all let us know if you want to see us, I guess, watch that whole thing. It is 2 hours long. That's like a mega movie at that point. I think that would be basically us catching up with everything, like what's been going on with him in the past basically 2 years. Now we are going to watch Corpse and what many really followed him for in the first place. His golden ticket, him narrating these stories. So I'm very, very excited. Me personally, I know you don't know this, I watch people like Nexpo, Nightmind, or Mama Max. I like to watch this by myself even because she's not really into scary stuff, and I've been watching these YouTubers for years. I would like to formally introduce y'all to the first official
Corpse Scary Story Watch Party. Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
We are reacting to True Horror Stories animated compilation, Corpse Husband True Scary Stories animated. Alright.
It's a very long title.
Yes. Go ahead and leave a like rating on the video and subscribe for more content.
First, a little background information.
Ooh.
I worked the night shift at a local gas station when I was 19. I was the only employee in the store, as usual. On Christmas Eve, I had to work the overnight, 10 p.m. into 6 a.m. into Christmas Day. It was a normal night, no customers, and my cleaning was almost finished. I had just got done eating and decided to go out for a smoke when
His voice is higher here.
hear someone walking towards the store in the distance.
Someone said eat.
Now, this was nothing out of the
Definitely not
ordinary
deep over the ears.
until the person gets to the pumps and I can actually see them. It was a male, about 5'9" and somewhat thin. He was wearing a dark hoodie, jeans, and was carrying a gift bag. As he got closer though, I noticed that he was bleeding from his forehead. As he approached me, I asked if he was okay and if he needed any help. I noticed that the bag was empty, which should have been my first red flag. The guy looked me in the eyes, looking dead inside, and said, "You want to help? Then don't call the fucking cops." I agreed and told him that there was a first aid kit inside and that I'd be happy to help him with his wound.
Faster.
Crazy, I know, but I was just trying to be nice to him since he was someone who could be a threat to me. We went inside the store and I got the first aid kit. As I pulled out the stuff for him to clean himself up with, he said he needed to use the restroom and once again told me not to call the cops. I told myself that if he wasn't out of the bathroom within a reasonable amount of time, I was going to call the police. He didn't come out, so I went outside and called.
Whoa.
The dispatcher told me to stay out of the store and find somewhere safe to be until the officers arrived. I stood at the side of the store where he wouldn't be able to see me, but I could see if he came out of the bathroom. He never came out. The police arrived and asked where he was. I pointed and they went in. Just as they got to the door, he opened it and tried to lunge at one of the officers. They tackled him, threw a knife that he was holding, and promptly arrested him. As they were walking him out of the store, he told me that I was lucky that the police got there when they did, and that he'd see me again soon. I was a little shook by that. One of the officers came to take my statement after the other took the guy away. I told the officer what had all happened, and then I asked something I really wish I didn't know the answer to. What was he doing in the bathroom? The officer told me that it was a good thing that I called when I did, because the guy had shot up some heroin in the bathroom, then was going to come out with a knife, stab me, and run with what money was in the register. That's what the bag was for. This guy had a lot of problems and a lot of anger inside of him. The reason he was so angry was also the reason his head was bleeding. He owed his dealer money and got beat because of it. His solution to the problem was robbing the store. The officer told me if I didn't call when I did, I'd either be critically wounded or dead because he wasn't going to allow me to stand between him and that money. I hope I never see that crazy drug addict who wanted to kill me to free himself of debt again.
Starting something fierce, aren't we?
I'm just glad I have you to hide behind. Can't even talk.
They weren't playing when they said true. Like, these are true horror stories.
This would definitely feel like something that would happen.
Alright.
One time I went to the bar with one of my friends. I had just turned 21, so I haven't been to many bars up to that point. My friend was drinking on the way to the bar, so he was already pretty drunk when we got there. When I sat at the bar, a cute girl came and talked to me and my friend. She said her name was Candace, and I noticed she had really, really bright red hair. I assumed she dyed it. I mean, it was pretty, but unnatural. Anyways, the girl was flirting with me and my friend. She could tell my friend was already very drunk. To be honest, I played along like I was drunk already too, since it seemed to be working for my friend. I didn't know if she was just trying to get free drinks, so I told her we didn't have much money. She then offered to buy us drinks. She kept buying us drinks, and I started to get confused as to who she liked between me and my friend. My friend went to the bathroom. Before he came back, he was kicked out by the bouncers. He was way too drunk.
You gotta go get your
Candace
friend.
and I went outside with him. She kept telling him to go home with her. He was so out of it, he could barely answer her. I told her he was too drunk and that I couldn't let him go anywhere. I didn't want him to wake up hungover in some random house with no car and no idea what happened. Candace kept pushing it, saying that she would take good care of him, but I told her no because I had to stay with him. I was more sober than him and he was my responsibility. I told her the only way he was going anywhere was if I tagged along. I assumed she thought I was jealous or cock-blocking, but my friend could barely stand and lost interest in Candace already at that point.
Yeah,
She
that's bad.
immediately started flirting with me and offered to get my friend a taxi to drive home, and said we could go to her place alone. At this point I had a few drinks and I was already buzzed, so I agreed.
What?
We took my friend to the
No,
taxi
bro.
and walked to her car.
You just said you weren't gonna
I
leave
slightly
him.
stumbled on the way to her car.
Wow, you're pretty drunk, huh?
She said, smiling as she held onto my arm. Yeah, I said. I don't know why, but I just felt slightly shy and anxious. Everything was just happening too easy for me, so I felt uneasy.
Yeah.
We got in her car and we drove down the
Where
street.
was her drinks?
Want to stop at the liquor store and get somewhere to drink?
What?
I'll buy it, so don't worry about paying.
She offered. I didn't want to drink any more than I already did. I mean, I was already buzzed and wanted to be able to carry myself throughout the rest of the night. Sometimes I made myself look stupid when I'm drunk, so I didn't want to ruin anything with Candace more than I already did earlier with telling her my friend was too drunk. I told her I was already drunk enough, but she insisted. I didn't want to seem lame, so I told her to get me a pint of liquor with some apple juice to chase it. She went into the store and came out with a lot more than just a pint. I assumed she wanted to drink more also, and that's why she got a fifth instead of a pint. On the car ride, we passed the bottle back and forth, but she took tiny sips. I tried to take tiny sips, but she kept passing me the bottle and telling me to drink. I somehow managed to drink all of my apple juice, and I pretend to drink the bottle by spitting the liquor into the apple juice bottle. I tossed the apple juice bottle full of liquor out the window before she even saw it. I didn't want her to know that I was acting drunker than I was. I mean, she actually believed I was sloppy drunk when I was simply buzzed. I took a couple more sips of liquor and then finished the bottle. Throughout the car ride, I called her the wrong name a couple of times to get a reaction out of her. She didn't react to it. She just kept letting me call her Carla without correcting me. For some reason, I thought maybe she lied to me about her name initially.
Okay, chill.
Never good when a girl don't correct you about a name.
I'm so scared, bruh. I know this is a setup. It's 100% a setup.
Drove up to her house and I pretended to trip and stumble into her front door. She helped me walk inside by holding me up. She opened her front door, which was unlocked, and we walked into her house.
What?
She closed her front door and then she locked it. I thought that was strange,
didn't lock
but
it with
assumed
a
she didn't
key.
want anyone walking in on us. I told her that I had to use the bathroom. I walked into her bathroom, locked the door, and looked in the mirror. I just felt strange. I felt like something was off. I felt myself becoming more drunk from finishing the bottle earlier. I turned on the sink to make noise and made myself
She
puke up the
poisoned
liquor
you,
I
bro.
drank. I flushed, went to the sink, and started drinking the tap water out of my hands to sober up.
There you go.
I just didn't want to be drunk, but I still wanted to hook up with Candace, so I pretended to be drunk.
He's still
I turned
thinking
off the
about-
sink and I could hear her talking to someone.
There it
He's
is.
drunk as hell. He can barely stand up. You do it.
Who was she talking to and do what? I walked out of the bathroom and into the living room. The moment I stepped into the living room, I saw her walking into another room. All I could see was the back of her head, that strange, very bright red hair go into another room. I didn't see her face or anything. I just saw her kind of walk fast into the room. The living room was
So
pretty dark.
creepy.
Hey, where are you going? I slurred like I was drunk. She walked back into the dark living room and up to me.
Let's go in my room.
She said. I looked at her bright red hair and then into her eyes. They were different. Her whole face was different. It was another girl with the same hair. And that's when I realized it was another girl with the same wig on. It was a wig the whole time. She changed it with the girl from earlier for whatever reason. My heart felt like it stopped, but I tried to look like I had no idea it was a different girl. I kind of smiled at her and told her I needed to use the bathroom one more time and told her sorry I was so drunk. She said,
It's fine, just hurry up in there.
I went into the bathroom and locked the door. I heard her whisper something to someone again. This time I think I heard a male voice whisper back. I honestly didn't concentrate on listening to exactly what she said, but something sketchy was going on, and I had to get out of that house. I opened the bathroom window and jumped straight out of it, and ran faster than I ever had in my entire life. I didn't look behind myself or anything. I just ran straight through the backyard, jumped the fence, ran through someone else's backyard, hit a road, and ran towards the main road. I kept running down the main road until I saw a Star CVS. I ran into the CVS and stood straight at the front of the store in front of the camera. I called a taxi and went home. I try to think of what happened that night. What was she or they planning that night? Why did she tell me a fake name? Why was she trying to get my friend and I so drunk? I thought maybe a robbery, but she kept spending money on us. She kept buying us drinks and even paid for my friend's taxi cab. And mostly, why did she wear a wig that she gave to another girl to wear? Who was she talking to? What did it mean? And what was in that room they tried to lure me into? The next day after this incident, I went back to the house with a couple of friends to see just what was going on. Nobody was there. No cars, no people, nothing. Just an empty house. I ended up finding out that the house was a summer rental. And whoever those people were, they broke into that house and used it for only that night and never came back. Anyways, that's my story.
Is so creepy because there's no motive. She paid for everything. So, like, she knew they weren't balling. So what was the point of luring him over there?
Kill him?
Yeah, but, like, just to kill him, I guess, huh? Like, what was...
Some people that just have this urge to kill.
That's wild. The face thing and the switching of the wig really got me. That creeped me out.
I just want to... it feels like an unfinished story. I want to know what was the purpose.
Alright, on to the next one. This is number 3. These are getting good. I hope the chat's enjoying this right now.
It was about 3 in the morning and I was on my way to my job at my local McDonald's to open with one of my favorite managers there with me. She told me to text her when I got there so that she could let me inside. Once I pulled in, I noticed a man standing outside of his car in the farthest corner of the parking lot.
Sketch.
He was shooting me this sort of menacing stare. Let me point out that it's completely pouring outside. I was really confused as to why this guy wasn't just sitting in his car. I then parked and texted my manager to let me inside. Seconds later, I noticed her at the door opening it for me. Upon walking up to her, I say my usual good morning.
No, you're supposed to tell him
I was
about
stopped
the guy.
mid-sentence by her rushing me inside and saying, "Did you see that guy outside?" I told her yes, and she proceeded to help me refill sauces, napkins, and things like that.
No, you're supposed to call
My
the
manager
cops.
then told me that she's going to check the security tapes just to make sure that everything during the period that the restaurant was closed was okay. Minutes later, my manager called me into her office for whatever reason. She told me to look at the screen and it showed that the same man was standing outside. The time was 12:47. She then fast-forwarded the tape to reveal that the man had been standing outside the entire time up until now, and at this point it's about 3:50 a.m. I ran to the front lobby and I noticed him still standing over by his car. I figured, or was hoping, that he was probably just on something and he was waiting for us to open so that maybe he could get breakfast. I resumed filling sauces again and making sure everything was in working order, until I was abruptly interrupted by banging at the front door. I walked over and noticed a figure right outside the front door. It was the man. I yelled that we were closed and that he would have to come back later. That didn't seem to faze him as he continued to bang on the door. I walked away, figuring that he was just being an asshole, when suddenly I heard a loud crash. I ran to the lobby to see the glass door broken and the man beginning to step inside. I yelled for my manager and told her that we needed to leave through the back door. And we did just that. We booked it to our cars and both called the cops. They arrived in about 15 minutes and came outside the restaurant with a dirty-looking man in cuffs. They said he was hiding in the back janitor's closet with a large knife in his hand. So that's my story, and also the reason I'm never working early mornings again.
I don't want to work early mornings, late nights.
Right?
Needs to be sun all
No
day,
graveyard
every day.
shifts. None. Number 4. Some of these are short, some of these are longer.
Oh, really?
Ooh, Skinwalker.
Oh, no, I don't like this. I already don't like this with the music. Oh. There's something about it being animated that makes it less scary.
Just waiting.
My family and I live in Arizona, and we occasionally visit our Navajo family in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We left early to get there by noon or less. It is a very long and boring trip there, but we get there before noon and we have time to mess around and talk with our extended family. And we, kids, start to play around till the evening starts to show.
It's animation. Wow.
Ooh. Oh.
Oh.
The house is too small for everyone to fit and sleep in. Some of the kids have to sleep in the trailer and truck camper, but 2 of my cousins and I had the amazing luck of sleeping in the old, slightly torn tent.
I don't like the noise. Ooh.
It's so disturbing, huh?
It's not a full moon, though.
We are well asleep at this point, and for some unknown reason, I wake up. Of course, I'm still tired and rubbing my eyes while yawning, meaning I wasn't well aware of my surroundings. Once I finish rubbing my eyes, I look straight at the entrance of the tent and see a figure, illuminated by the back porch light, standing in front of the tent. At first I was scared, but thought it was my other cousins just messing with us. As this person was standing outside our tent looking at us, I turned to one of my older cousins who was 2 years older than me to wake him up and tell him that someone was standing outside of our tent. He tries to brush me off, but I persist and he turns to me and asks me what I wanted. I tell him to look at the entrance of the tent, and he does. I've never seen someone go from the brink of sleep to sheer panic and alertness in their eyes that fast before. He looks at me with this panicked face and tells me to be quiet. He whispers to me that it's a skinwalker and that we need to be quiet again.
Skinwalker.
We lay there for the longest time, and from my memory, it was at least an hour or more. We were just about to go back to sleep because it hadn't done anything. Then it started to move around the tent.
Oh, hell no.
Remember when I said this was an old tent? Yeah, it had some holes in it.
Gonna peek through the hole.
One of the holes was the size of a quarter, and I decided to be brave. As it continues to walk around the tent a 4th time, I slowly crawl towards the hole and try to take a look. As I did this, my cousin told me to get back to the bed or it'll hurt us. Of course, as a kid, I ignored the warning.
Stupid.
I'm at the quarter-size hole and looking out to see whatever it was. It comes around the hole, and what I saw was bone-chilling. I bolt back and hide under my sleeping bag while my cousin does the same. This thing decided to stop moving and start looking at us again. I hid under the covers and spent every ounce of energy being scared. And then I finally fell asleep.
That's wild. Chimes. We're not soothing.
I woke up early, maybe around 5, and I decided to look around the tent to see if there was anything there. I see footprints, bare footprints that send shivers throughout my body. I saw the footprints move around the tent. This hit me hard because I was now realizing it wasn't a dream. As I further investigate the footprints, I noticed that it went off track. It went off to the rocky hills nearby where we were staying at. I followed the track to the hills, about a football field away from the house. As I continue to follow the tracks, something strange and scary happens. It goes from 2 footprints walking for a while to footprints and handprints in the dirt starting to form. I found that kinda strange because no person would do that out here. As I followed the tracks further into the hills, the hands and feet started to get smaller and smaller. It then subtly changed into coyote paw prints. That is when I stopped and turned back home, first walking fast, then onto a full-on run. When I got back, I sat down on the back porch for a while and thought about telling my family, but I didn't think that they would believe me. In the end, I didn't tell anyone, even the cousin I woke up in the middle of the night. Well, that's my story. I urge you guys to not go into the Navajo reservation to go looking for them. You will bite off more than you can chew. We, my people, take these beings very seriously and do our best to not talk about them. Even though I broke this code, I just thought to warn you guys about them. Whoever is listening are the first people to hear this story. I had a few more stories to tell, but this is by far the scariest one I had.
That one's gonna give me a nightmare.
I'm
I already
sorry.
feel it.
Number 5. I'm getting down to the wire. You making it through?
The
man.
following story took place in Norway in 2015. If the wording
Another gas
seems a bit off,
station.
it's because the story has been translated. I was called in for a night shift on Saturday at the gas station that I used to work at. I'm 19 years old and a guy. I'm pretty short, like 5'6", but I weigh around 190 pounds. Because my lifestyle almost only aims for both powerlifting and bodybuilding, depending on which time of the year it is, I got really mad that I got that shift because I need a good night's sleep. But whatever, I needed money anyway. I shaved my head clean like I do every second day while keeping my full beard and packed 3 decent meals for the shift. I went to work at 11 p.m. and the shift was going to last until 8 a.m. whilst being alone until 6 a.m. I don't mind working alone. Some people get paranoid and everything, but I myself have the kind of facial features and build that most people would not bother to mess with. Even though I'm a very, very nice person, it doesn't really look like I am. I had some customers while working, of course, a lot of drunk people. Since it's Saturday and in Norway, people tend to grab a burger or a hot dog at the gas station before heading home. Others just there to fill up on gas. But later, at around 4 a.m., when it started to get more and more quiet, I saw a stressed out woman a few steps away from the door outside. I couldn't exactly tell what she looked like from behind the cashier desk, but I could tell that she was stressed out, standing with her arms crossed together while turning her head to the sides and turning around every now and then. I was considering to go out and ask if she needs any help, but I brushed it off and was thinking she was probably just waiting for someone. But then she looked inside and began to walk towards the entrance. She came inside, breathing in between normal and heavy, and she sat down. I greeted her with a smile, and I could tell immediately that she was a drug abuser, and that she was really stressed out. She was dressed with normal-looking clothes and looked like she was in her 20s. She kindly responded with, "Hey," with an obvious fake smile where you could tell that this person is sad behind the mask that they're putting on. She then came to the desk, asking if she could borrow my phone to call her boyfriend. She said that there were people following her and that they wanted her hurt or dead. The following conversation goes on like this. "Are they looking for you? Like right now?"
Yes. Please let me borrow your phone.
"Sure thing, but wouldn't it be better if I called the cops for you?"
No, please.
different voice actors.
I'm just thinking in my head, I was like, I wonder who's getting to do the
Long
voiceovers
story
for the
short,
girls.
I told her to go sit down at a specific corner of the station where there was no glass wall so that people wouldn't be able to see her. She called her boyfriend 2 or 3 times, but nobody responded. She kindly asked me if she can log into Facebook with my phone, to see if maybe she could contact him there. I was kind of unsure about this, but I am by natural reasons very humble, maybe a little too much. Another thing was that I was standing right behind her, so there was no unacceptable things that she could do without me seeing it. So I said, alright, you can log into your Facebook. I told her to use the Google Chrome app to go on Facebook and not the Facebook app itself, since I hate spending time logging in and out of my account on my phone.
Nobody remembers
Call
the
me a
password.
lazy bastard, whatever.
It's just a
She
funny part
logged
of the
in,
story
and
'cause
long
it's so
story short, no
relatable.
response on there either. She thanked me a lot for the help and was about to walk out. I asked her if she was sure about me calling the cops or not, but she was 100% positive about me not doing it, which was weird, I thought.
That is weird.
Okay, well, be
She set
safe,
him up.
I told her. Later on into my shift, I turned my phone on only to find out that she forgot to log out from her Facebook on the Google Chrome app. Out of curiosity, I checked the messages, which I believe every other person would probably consider doing. The most recent conversation was obviously her boyfriend, I thought. But there was nothing about come and pick me up or even the slightest thing that made me believe that this was her boyfriend. I checked the others below. Every fucking conversation I checked, which was about 6 or 7 of them, was either about drugs or money. Meth, coke, heroin, codeine,
No,
you
on his
name it.
phone.
As humble as I am, I just felt bad for her and I logged out without judging. 2 days later, I'm at the gym doing some deadlifts when I get a call from a number that is not registered in my contacts. I picked up. Hello, Alan speaking. Hello, who are you? Who am I? You called me and I've already said my name. Who are you? You called me 2 days ago in the middle of the night. No, I didn't. And then I remembered about the girl calling her boyfriend at the gas station 2 days ago. Oh wait, I remember. I don't know her name, but I assume you have a girlfriend? Then I went on to explain the situation. You may think, how the hell didn't I know her name when I had her Facebook logged into my Chrome app, but I simply didn't bother to remember it. He then responded that he didn't have a girlfriend. Surprisingly, this didn't shock me at all.
Yeah,
I could tell that she was full of shit when I saw the messages with my own eyes. But I pretended like this was something that came to me as a surprise. Oh, really? Well, that's what she told me, and I tried to help her out after that, which I've already explained to you. What do you know? What do you mean, what do I know? Has she told you anything? If so, I need to know right now. I was really starting to get pissed off. First of all, I was being mixed into some bullshit for no reason now. Second, getting interrupted during my workouts makes me want to rip off someone's head. She hasn't told me anything and I'm really busy at the moment. Please don't call me again because none of this is actually my business. It is your business. You helped her, you piece of shit. Before I hung up, I told him to fuck off, otherwise I would take this case to a level that he would regret. I mean, obviously I would never kill him or anything, I just tried to come up with some dumb shit to scare him. I got a bit frustrated too. Why the actual fuck would that girl call a psycho who obviously didn't like her? It was clear that he was mad because he thought I somehow helped her, which I still don't understand what he meant by that. So, on to the rest of the story. My neighborhood is quiet, and my town is small, so it's not hard for anybody to find anyone. It's as simple as pasting someone's phone number in a specific website and their address will most likely show up. And eventually, I happened to get a little visit. As I said, the neighborhood is very quiet after midnight, and while being in bed watching some bodybuilding videos for entertainment, I started to hear someone driving towards my area. Well, that's not normal at this time, but it happens. Eventually, I heard a car park right outside my property behind my garden, which goes a little bit uphill filled with stones and flowers. So I couldn't see the car from that point on, but I heard someone opening the car door and locking it. What the fuck was going on? I opened my window quietly, just to be able to hear a little bit more. I could hear the man walk up the little uphill part of my garden, which made some sounds because of the stones. I won't lie, I was scared as shit. I couldn't see him either, because everything behind my garden is blocked from my point of view by tall cements for the garage. The garden uphill leads to the balcony where a big glass wall is, and that's where my little sister's room is. I went to the exit of my door and quietly walked out. I walked to the cement stairs at the side of my property, which leads me to the exact same spot as him. I could hear footsteps, and I quietly walked up the cement stairs. Then I caught a glimpse of the guy. Probably the guy I was speaking on the phone with. Keep in mind, I still don't know what the hell he wants from me and why the fuck that junkie woman called him in the first place at the gas station. I know nothing. My adrenaline was high, but got almost to its peak when he was right outside my little sister's glass wall. I was scared, but also really pissed off. No way he's going in there or trying at all. At the top of the cement stairs, I walked quick but silent until I saw that he could hear someone walk behind him just a few feet away. Then, I ran as fast as I could and pushed him with all my anger, leading him to get smashed into the wall beside my sister's glass wall, before I proceeded to get over him and hold my palm over the side of his face, pushing it down while asking what the fuck he wants. My little sister woke up, screaming, which also woke my mother up. She ran out and asked what the hell was going on. Why my dad isn't home is another story, but anyways, my family's facial expression was filled up with fear, and I told my mom to call the cops. The man said nothing, just laying still with his left hand wrapped around my right wrist because of the pressure I was holding his face down with. He was literally resting for a few seconds before starting to resist like a horse again, but he ran out of energy fast. I would ease my palm off of his face so that he could get his head up a little bit, only to smash it down again with anger. Both he and I were breathing heavily. I stopped asking questions and my mother was on the phone with the police, always reacting with fear when the man started to resist again, but I told her it was under control. It didn't take long before the cops showed up and arrested the guy. I told them the whole story about both the girl and the guy. They were both just regular fucking drug addicts and have both been in prison previously for it. I was scared as shit and still to this day don't know why I had to be involved in this. Maybe he was just a paranoid psychopath. My lesson to you, never let some creepy stranger borrow your personal phone for situations like this.
Oh, really?
If it sounds dangerous, simply call the police to help them, and if they don't want you to, then just leave it. If you're at work, like I was, use the work phone.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to say a quick thanks to all the animators who were involved in this video. And if you didn't notice, my narration changed throughout the video.
Yes.
That's because some of the audio used in these were taken from years ago when I was beginning narrating, so I hope that wasn't too hard on the ears, and if anything was just inspiring to see how much your narration can improve over time. I plan on doing these pretty often, and often in corpse time is like once a month. And no, it's not a replacement for any content, purely an addition. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you see me in a week with some new stories if I don't end up at the doctor's again. I appreciate your loyalty immensely, and if you're new, welcome. Keep up with me on Twitter and Instagram at corpse_husband. I've been more active lately. And for those wondering, my Facebook locked me out because they don't like faceless people and I'll never get into it again. Stay safe and have an awesome day.
Sounds about right. Sounds like Facebook.
I like it. I'm so down to listen to more.
Yeah, I love the stories. I love the story format. I understand now why he was so popular before Among Us and why he had so many fans. He is a very expressive reader. He brings the
emotion in the voice.
He brings every story to life. I love the different art styles.
The Raven, I would love to know what the animation would be for the Raven.
Right? Y'all let us know what you think of this video, these scary stories, in the comment section below, and recommend other scary stories you want to see us react to on the channel. Look at her face. You see that face?
Horror story. You see me though hiding?
I love the short story format too, so I'm excited to do more of these. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. And if you somehow made it all the way to the end of this and you're not subscribed, do yourself a favor. Become a Nayla. Hit the bell, select all notifications. You're notified whenever we drop a new video, which I know y'all don't want to miss. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all very much. And we will see everyone in the next video.